Most of the stuff y'all consume is Black American culture. Most of the stuff y'all see, hear, listen to, wanna wear is Black American culture. Yet y'all give white people your flowers for what? What y'all giving white people your flowers for? Like, I really don't understand it. Next time y'all say, I love the 90s style, I love the Y2K style, I love baggy clothes, Black American style. That's Black American culture. Next time y'all say, I love rock music, and y'all think of Elvis Presley. Rock music didn't start with Elvis Presley. Rock music started with Black Americans. Country music started with Black Americans. House music started with Black Americans. Techno is Black music. Hip-hop is Black music. R&B is Black music. Blues, jazz, gospel is Black music. Everything that y'all consume, most of the stuff, is Black music. People dress like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is dressed like TLC, The Brat, and MC Lights. But y'all don't know who that is, so the conversation doesn't even make sense. You know, like, I'm so sick and tired of people thinking Black Americans don't have culture when they are the culture. Y'all love the gift and not the giver. Y'all love everything that Black people produce, but y'all don't like Black people. Y'all love everything that Black people give you, but you don't respect Black people. Y'all love everything that Black people, it only exists because of Black people. You only exist because of Black people. If it wasn't for a Black woman, y'all wouldn't even be here. Yet y'all want to hate on Black women. All of that shit don't make sense to me, bro.
Have this superiority feeling when I tell you that a black person created the plasma transfusion, when I tell you that the supercomputer that led to the internet is invented by an African computer scientist, when I tell you, like last time, all the inventions, when you learn about the air conditioner and the radiator and you learn about all the different science inventions that were invented by people that look like us. It wasn't you that started. You didn't invent the super soaker. It was a Black dude that did. You didn't calculate the whole rocket ship stuff for NASA. It was some Black women, of course, with the help of other people. But, you didn't invent the remote control. A Black dude did. I mean, you didn't invent the spatula. A Black woman did. 3D imaging, a Black woman did,
Things white people have accomplished. 97% of inventions were made by Europeans. And there's actually a website when they say like the traffic light or peanut butter was invented by Black people. I don't think they've invented anything actually. There's a website that like fact checks these Black inventions, and you look deeper into it and usually they're all from white people that they might have added something or it was like completely stolen. So why are we not taught about that?
Wow, there's a site debunking Black inventions?
Yeah, I didn't even invent peanut butter. So I don't think they've invented anything actually.
Is this a measuring contest of which race is better? Do you see something in us that we probably don't even see in ourselves? Do you look at us like so superior to the point that you have to say, look, you didn't make that, you're not that good? It's similar to like, if there's a really, really attractive girl and there's a girl who's maybe not as attractive and not getting as much attention, she goes out of her way to basically go, hey, she's a liar, she's ugly. Everyone clearly sees that when it comes to beauty. You are being disrespectful because you don't have something or you feel inferior. You need to work on yourself instead of tearing down that beautiful woman. That's how we see it. Why do you need to stand so high above Black people? Why do you need to keep on making it a thing where you keep on telling the world that you're better?
If you're really going to be a racist, then you should be a true racist and not use anything or be involved with anything that was invented or created by Blacks. Do you want a list? The ironing board, the refrigerator, the baby carriage, the shoemaking machines, the traffic signal, the incandescent light bulb, the folding bed, the mailbox, air conditioning, elevator. You want me to go on?
This is a nation that invented the light bulb, the telegraph, the television, the telephone, the computer chip, the smartphone, the GPS, the integrated circuit, and even the internet. Basically, we invented everything.
We? We.
Outside of interracial children causing strain on the relationship between family and daughter, all this shit right here, we made locks.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are reacting to this conversation that continues to spark debate online. More people are discussing the tremendous influence that Black Americans have had on music, fashion, sports, language, entertainment, and many other parts of modern culture. Some people say they never realized that just how much of what they enjoy every day has roots in Black Americans' creativity. And as always, let's keep this discussion respectful and focus on history, culture, and facts rather than stereotypes. So let's get into the remaining clips. I'll be back with more commentaries. Stay tuned.
He had something to hit at the traffic light. Fire extinguishers to combat the open flame after you done passed out drunk in the trailer park. Rolling pins so your wives have something to combat against the wife beaters. Elevators to aid in your obesity. Guitars so you had something to use to try to steal the music we sang better. Typewriters so you had the ability to lie on that police report. Even golf tees so the upper echelon whites had something fun to do while they also called you trash unbeknownst to you. We made AC units so you won't be so goddamn musty. Curtains and curtain rods so your nosy ass had something to hide behind when you wasn't minding your fucking business. Baby buggies so the nannies had something to push the kids in while you called other races deadbeats who didn't take care of their kids. Peanut butter in hopes that you'd shut the fuck up for a little while. Shit, without us there'd be no spark plugs. Without spark plugs there'd be no NASCAR. And what else would be your soundtrack to your domestic abuse? And Jeff Gordon rounds into the left again. The list goes on and on. I could do this all day. Shit, I did that one of your great white heroes said that.
In America today, a white man with a high school diploma makes more than a black man with a master's degree. A white man with a master's degree makes more than a black man with a doctorate. You follow what I'm saying? So that is real. There was a study that was done not too long ago where white men who had a prison record and no college degree, were called back for a job more often than black men with master's degrees with no prison record at all. Right? There was a sister who just did a study. I just saw it the other day. She changed her name to a white woman's name.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
On what is it? Indeed. What's the thing on?
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, Indeed and all those job sites. LinkedIn.
Right.
Indeed.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And she passed herself off as a white woman. And she proved that there was discrimination. Same resume, same everything, but when she was Caucasian, way more job opportunities than when she was black. So that's a real thing. How did we change that? You got to change the system. Because here's the thing. We can't deny the American African his humanity for good and for bad. This is what I mean by that. There was a psychological study that was done, I forget the name of it, where they took a rat and they put the rat in a box. And they kept enticing the rat to climb out the box. And every time the rat tried to climb out the box, they kept getting pushed back into the box. So guess what happened after hundreds of times of trying to jump out the box and kept getting pushed back in? They stopped trying to jump out the box. The white man, a Charlie Kirk, will look at that and say, look at the lazy black. They not trying enough. They not working hard enough. What did I say? Don't discount the history. He's not going to talk about the fact that they've been trying to do that for the past 200 years, and they learned through experience that trying to get out the box is not the way you get out.
Hey, man, I don't even got to say nothing. We all know it's facts. The end.
Ooh, you want to know one thing that blacks invented, do ya? Well, for starters, how about we don't refer to black folks as blacks? Because I can hear the fucking banjos coming out of you from that comment. But if you really want to know one of the most prominent things that black folks have ever invented, I advise you to turn on your radio. Just about every single genre of American music you've ever heard of has been invented by black folks or is derived from music that black folks made. You can look this stuff up yourself, but I know you won't because you don't actually give a fuck. So I'm just going to let you know that you wouldn't have country music, rock music, metal, dance music, techno, EDM, even subgenres like rockabilly and thrash metal and fucking dubstep. You would have absolutely none of that if black culture did not exist. And I'm sorry, but it's not even up for debate. It's not a lie, it's not an omission, it's not an embellishment, it's not a misrepresentation of any sort of factual information. It is 100% true that if you are listening to American-made music in the modern day, you have black people to thank for its existence. How's that for an invention?
When you look at systemic racism, you're looking at trends that have affected the wealth gap between the races historically in the United States. This is not about a person being a racist or your grandma being a racist. It has to do with what the economy looked like for white persons and black persons historically in this country. Back during the time of the Civil War, the white folks had 56 times more wealth on average than a black person. So it was 56 to 1. Just 10 years later, in 1870, after Reconstruction, that gap went from 56 to 1 to 23 to 1. Pretty dramatic improvement in 10 years. The reason for that market improvement is that while black people were now allowed to purchase land and assets, so black wealth was going up, simultaneously white wealth was coming down because what was a huge part of their wealth? Slaves. Human beings that they were no longer allowed to own. By 1900, the gap had closed all the way to 11 to 1. The average white person had 11 times more wealth than the average black person. And then it stalled out. And the reason it stalled out is because black people were still being discriminated against. They didn't have the same access to credit, if any access to credit. Legislative attempts at narrowing the gap were shot down, trying to finish narrowing the gap were shot down, like the 40 acres and a mule thing that never got passed. They faced widespread discrimination in education. The schools were still segregated and they weren't getting the best funding and they weren't getting the best teachers. They were discriminated against in the workforce. Now from 1900, when it was 11 to 1, to 1960, over 60 years, the gap squeezed a little bit smaller to 8 to 1. So for every black family that had $10,000 in total assets, the average white family had 80,000 in total assets, okay? And how did we go from 11 to 1 to 8 to 1? Well, a couple things happened. FDR made it illegal to discriminate against black workers, but only for purposes of the military and government positions. But still, every little bit helps. And then also, you had World War I and World War II. So many white men left the American workforce that black men were finally able to start moving up into higher paid positions. That doesn't mean they were paid the same as the white person who had previously done that job, but they were being paid more than they were previously, and they were getting access to higher skilled work. So then by the 1980s, the gap had closed to 5 to 1. And what was helping close the gap? Civil rights that had taken place between 1965 and 1980. Fair Housing Act, federal minimum wage that did not discriminate. So those things were helping close that gap just a little bit. So that takes us up to 1980. But what has happened in the last 45 years? We were at 5 to 1 gap. How much have we closed since then? None. In the last 45 years, we've gone backwards. So we are now at a 6 to 1 gap. The average white family has 6 times more wealth than the average black family. And why is that happening? Well, because wealth compounds. It's not just about who has the ability to earn X salary. It's that the white families were starting with more wealth, more property, more stocks, bonds, etc. And they're able to compound that wealth. Whereas if the black and brown populations are starting without those assets, they don't have the ability to compound. They end up having to spend what they earn. They have to consume the majority of the income that they're earning just to sustain a living. This isn't about blaming an individual. It's not about vilifying people. What it is about is exploring and understanding the economics behind why we have that gap so that we can address those things with policy.
You know, many people online have been sharing posts saying that they grew up listening to genres such as hip-hop, jazz, blues, R&B, rock and roll, and gospel without fully appreciating where those traditions came from. Others point to fashion trends, slang, dance styles, and athletic culture that have become global. For many viewers, this has become a moment of reflection. They say that culture spreads so naturally that people often forget where ideas and traditions began. At the same time, others are arguing that culture constantly evolves. Every generation and every community influences one another, and that is why it's important to recognize contributions without ignoring how cultures interact and grow together. One topic that often comes up is innovation. Black American investors, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, and artists have made important contributions across many fields, despite facing significant barriers throughout history. Learning more about these achievements can give a fuller picture of American history. Supporters are saying recognizing those accomplishments is not about diminishing anyone else. Instead, it's about ensuring that people who made significant contributions receive the credit they deserve. We have critics, however, who are cautioning against exaggerated claims that cannot be supported by reliable evidence. They are even arguing that historical discussions are strongest when they rely on documented facts rather than viral statistics. And that raises an interesting question for all of us, that how much do we actually know about the history behind the music we listen to, the fashion we wear, or the technology we use? And many people are now exploring that question by reading biographies, they're watching documentaries, and learning about investors, artists, and leaders whose stories were overlooked in the past. One thing that is difficult to deny is the global reach of Black American cultural influence. Music styles that began in Black communities have inspired artists worldwide. Fashion trends have crossed continents. Sports icons have become international role models. Films, television, literature, and comedy have shaped audiences across generations. And these conversations can sometimes become emotional because they touch on identity, on history, and recognition. But they also present an opportunity to learn more and appreciate the diverse contributions that have shaped society. Ultimately, acknowledging one group's achievements does not erase the achievements of others. You know, history is richer when we recognize the many people who have helped build it. So what do you think? Have these conversations changed the way you see the influence of Black American culture? Are these historical figures or innovators you think deserve more recognition? So share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future reaction videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of the video. This video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. See you in the next one.